What I want you to hear and know today is that where historically Black college and university students live, work, play, and learn matter. My name is Dr. Nekya Jenise Young, and I'm a proud HBCU graduate. I attended Jackson State University, Tennessee State University, Texas Southern University, and I'd had an enriching experience, so I thought I would capture some of that and put them in the images here. Pictured here is an image of my former professor, Dr. David A. Padgett from Tennessee State University, who was instrumental in shaping my educational career. I also have a picture of my son, Isaiah Pascal, who's the sunshine of my life. I was fortunate to become a mother while I was studying. I also have an image of myself as an Environmental Defense Fund Fellow, supporting sustainability initiatives with colleagues, and finally, my experience as a community advocate. Some of you might have been introduced to HBCUs and the internet and social media through our bands, homecomings, sororities, and fraternities. One thing about HBCUs is that we know how to celebrate. Others might have been introduced to HBCUs when it was announced that Senator Kamala D. Harris would become the first African-American and Southeast Asian vice president. After her vice presidency was announced, millions of dollars poured in from all over the world. People wanted to know more about this talent that came out of Howard University. Did you know that there are actually more than the few HBCUs that I've mentioned today? There's actually 107 HBCUs that extend east of the Mississippi River, down to the Deep South, up through the East Coast, and down to the Virgin Islands. But one thing you may have not known is that HBCUs got their start in 1837, when Richard Humphreys, a Quaker from Pennsylvania, established the first school for African slaves. He wanted a place for African slaves to learn about mechanic arts, trades, and agriculture. But little did he know when he opened up the doors for Cheyney University of Pennsylvania in 1837, for the next 100 years, another 100 HBCUs would open their doors. But they would face historical challenges with that. They would have to face Civil War, World Wars, the Great Depression, and most notably, urban renewal. For those of you who don't know, urban renewal is a period between the 1950s and 60s when whites were incentivized to leave urban core neighborhoods where African Americans were, and they flocked to the suburbs. When they left to the suburbs, they took away quality jobs, education, and schools. So for the first time, we had to think about white flight and what that would happen for HBCUs. By no fault of their own, HBCUs happen to be located in urban and predominantly African-American neighborhoods. And so in thinking about urban renewal, and the picture that I have shown up here, is that another period that came with urban renewal was the destruction that highways caused during the 1950s and 60s. This is an image of I-40 that separated 3 HBCUs, Tennessee State University, Fisk University, and Meharry Medical College. It wouldn't be until the 1970s that America would turn to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to solve the social ills and combat urban renewal. However, there was one caveat with the programs that they created. You see, HUD created neighborhood redevelopment and community revitalization grants and loans and programs to help turn communities around. But there was one caveat to that rule. HBCUs could not apply. They only could partner with predominantly white institutions and serve as community technical assistance providers or community liaisons to help relay the impacts of what urban renewal was happening, but they could not independently solve the social ills happening right in their backyards. It wouldn't be until the late 1980s when former President Bush and Reagan would sign Executive Acts 12232 and 12267 to help turn around the impacts of urban renewal for HBCUs. With those executive acts, HBCUs, for the first time in history, could solve their own problems in their backyard and apply for those HUD grants and loans to help turn their communities around. So given all that context that I've shared about the histories of HBCUs, the condition, I want us to think about the pathways to resilience for HBCUs after urban renewal. I want us also to think about a question I heard my entire educational career as an HBCU student. Are HBCU students really in the hood? That's what I always was asked. People always wanted to know about the slum and blighted conditions that surrounded HBCUs. They wanted to know if it was on purpose or if these were the impacts of urban renewal. Well, it wouldn't be until I had to dig a little deep. I'm a student, I'll be honest with you, when I was a student in undergrad, I struggled with quantitative thinking and quantitative analysis. However, I was so motivated to find an answer to this, I put on my quantitative mind I didn't know I had. So I thought about it. I began thinking about just the geographies of where the HBCUs were and how they were located. So I turned to my dissertation to help me answer that question. In my dissertation, identifying the geographies of opportunity for historically Black colleges and universities, I have a conversation about what Jane Jacobs described as the sidewalk ballet. You know, the rhythm of the street, the rhythm of the community. What is the pulse of the community after urban renewal for HBCU neighborhoods? Did jobs ever come back? Did Black businesses ever thrive again after urban renewal? Did HBCU neighborhoods ever see the impacts of those dollars that could finally be funneled into communities? Did they see the turnaround that they were expecting to see? I also wanted to know, what did HBCU students have when they step off their campus, when they walk into the neighborhood? And I wanted to know the experience of residents. Did residents ever see businesses come back? Are they thriving now? What is the condition of HBCU neighborhoods post-urban renewal? So I turned to the US Census to help me answer that question. I thought about the statistics that I could download using the US Census data. Remember I told you I didn't know I had a quantitative mind, but my passion sure did push me to get there. So I turned to R, a programming software that is designed to allow you to code and calculate and assess research and data. So I thought about the statistics of unemployment, of poverty, of home ownership, educational attainment, and I combined all 5 statistics to create one social opportunity score, just so I could really capture and visualize social opportunity, but most importantly, paint the spatial tapestry that I wanted to see for HBCUs, because this had never been done before. So I went a little further. I even pushed myself to learn a little bit of quantum GIS, where I could sit here and I could map and tell the story over time of what the HBCU neighborhoods looked like over time after HUD grants were allowed to be awarded to HBCUs. I first began by referencing an existing neighborhood opportunity measurement model created by Dr. Elijah Knapp. I thought about the zip codes of where the HBCUs campuses were located. Specifically, I collected the zip codes of 101 HBCUs, just so I could really map and measure and assess what does social opportunity look like across the gamut of HBCUs. And then I thought about the census tracts surrounding HBCUs, specifically in a 1, 3, and 5 mile radius. So I ended up creating buffers so I could look at that particular data. And finally, when I was able to create one social opportunity score, the programming code allowed me to calculate, measure, map, and rank social opportunity over time. So I'm bragging about my work. Let's get to it. Let me show you what I did. I began, the programming code told me that, let me explain to you first how to read the map. So you can see deep shades of purple coloring the census tract surrounding HBCUs. In this case, we learned that the measurement model told us that Cheyney University of Pennsylvania, yes, the very first HBCU, had the highest social opportunity over time. And so how you read this is that there are shades of purple that indicate social opportunity on this map. In essence, the more purple you see, the more social opportunity you see for the HBCU. The lighter shades of purple means there's an absence or there is no social opportunity surrounding the HBCU. So let's go a little further in my research. In the 2000 decade, my programming code showed that within a 1, 3, and 5 mile radius, that Cheyney University of Pennsylvania still held its vibrant purple color. If you're having a hard time putting your mind around the colors that I'm describing, think of vibranium. Vibranium is a purple, indestructible source that Wakanda brags about in the amazing Marvel series Black Panther. Well, I think of HBCUs as being an indestructible force, so why not paint it the colors of purple? The colors of resilience, I'd like to say. So, back to the story. Let's think about whatever the programming code told us in the 2010 decade. It showed us that there was still tons of purple surrounding Cheyney University of Pennsylvania, tons of opportunities surrounding it, giving it its vibrant color. And finally, in the 2015 to 2019 decade, it showed that social opportunity still had its high social vibrancy and its color, even when you went 1, 3, and 5 miles outside of the campus. So if that's who scored high on the scale, because we all know scales have highs and lows, if Cheyney University of Pennsylvania had the highest social opportunity over time, well, who had the lowest social opportunity over time? I'm sad to report that that campus is Spelman College, an all-female African-American university, private university in Atlanta, Georgia. Although it's surrounded by 4 other HBCUs, it isn't until you travel 3 miles or greater from the campus that you can see higher incidence of social opportunity and purple. You can continue to travel in the 2000 decade and still see that you have to travel 3 miles or greater to see social opportunity and to visualize that deep sense of purple that I was describing. Even in the 2010 decade, it's closer to 5 miles in which you have to travel to see the deep sense of purple and the high images of social opportunity and purple surrounding Spelman College. And finally, in the 2015 and 2019 decade, it's not until you travel 5 miles or greater outside of the campus that you can see the rich, vibrant color purple showing its rich social opportunities surrounding Spelman College. So that means we got a lot of work to do. And so this talk today is a clarion call for you to think about policies that we can implement, funding that we can allocate to help turn HBCU neighborhoods around, because it's more than programming and coding. It's about community, and it's about the resources we put together to build resilience for HBCU neighborhoods. Because at minimum, what I need you to know today and remember is that where HBCU students live, work, play, and learn is important. Thank you.